Oh, it's been a while. So who's doing the catch-up today?
Adrian.
Designated Adrian. I know that you did a catch-up in meme format. It's just I'm unable to display that correctly.
I did do it in meme format.
Yes, go ahead and do the catch-up, sir.
We started the session outside the boss room, and then we kicked open the doors to the boss room. And inside the boss room there was Makral's beautiful undead wife. Some sort of alchemist dude who was working on like a corpse, and then a bunch of rebel guards. Makral's wife and Tim. There was obviously some tension there that with her being undead,
sexual and substantial tension. Yeah,
him sleeping with someone else whom she murdered, and the general kidnapping. So they just, went at it. The alchemist, basically didn't do shit. I think she got fucked over really hard. Grilda ran in. There was some spell casting. I shot a bunch of arrows. There was some AoEs. Lantix was briefly thinking about just fireballing the children and killing them. The children were also...
Yeah, he did actually consider that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But he put down a nail bomb instead. Also in range of the children. We found out one of the children is psychic when he gave me disadvantage on shooting his mom, which I don't understand why he would do it. He's a child. Obviously, he doesn't like his mom at that age.
She.
They're bugbears. Does it matter?
Yes! Oh, wow! Did you just go there?
I don't think it matters.
Okay, continue.
I imagine they're like birds, and they just all have, they just talk. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, let's continue.
We won the fight, didn't kill the children. The nail bomb did go off, but I think Liam didn't want to kill the children, which, makes sense. Would be sort of a downer.
They were prone.
Gwendeth hunted down the undead mom, pinned her to a tree, then we had a whole big discussion about...
With arrows, not with arms.
Yeah, with arrows, yes. Then we buried her, thought about how to breach her to the children, because, their mom is now dead again. So we just told them that, Gwendeth killed her. Which, retro perspective, probably not, the best idea. But, And then, what I would like to call the boat treason plot happened.
The boat treason
Somehow, first off, Chester looted everything and got, a flask of wine.
But no one really knows, really, that he did it. No one saw him.
No, we all left him there, because apparently that's a great idea, and he got all the boss loot. One of which was an alchemist's flag, which he used to get drunk. Okay, so the only 3 people at the boat were Chester, who was drunk, Makra, and Gwendeth, and somehow we talked each other into just stealing the boat, because we really wanted the boat, and not turning it into the Mokhul army. Took us a while to get the boat ready. We had a big fight with the sailors about, where we would drop them off, if they would work for us, all that stuff. And once we got ready, the army boats showed up and we were all on the boat. So treason didn't work, and that's where we left off. With the sailors discussing, they would just say we were the baddies.
Okay, so we begin today's session as you guys are not panicking, but realise there was 2 warships that seem to have passed the cave mouth, not maybe 300, 400 foot from you, where the light midday sunshine blazes in upon the crystal clear water. All of the sailors have tried to, bargain with you, saying, you're going to help us not get killed. We could sail away now, but you guys decided you would wait, and what you also forgot is Grildar had sent a message, unknowing to most of you, that to call in the Blood Knight, Jehati Kofu. Kofu, as well as I think your partner as well, your old partner, wasn't it? You sent messages to your sister, your old partner, and the Jehati Kofu.
Yeah, and Randall.
Yeah, and that together they figured it out quite quickly. So the first thing you notice is a set of rowboats coming through the cave mouth. There's about 4 rowboats. Grildar, who has passive perception of 15, sees who it is first. The front rowboat has Abrax at its prow with about 8 hound guards rowing forward. He's a tiefling sorcerer wearing his tanned coat, and you see he's flicking minor illusions around his fingers as he's smiling, heading towards you guys. Behind him is the Blood Knight Kofu, a very dark-skinned, bald, stern-looking man. He was the one who was originally guarding the Ironblood residence after the incident that happened last night.
So is it like, is he bald by choice, or does it look like he lost his
He looks like a very it looks like he's bald by choice, like he's very military-style Blood Knight. He's dressed in the purple and gold robes of a Blood Knight with the breastplate over the top, leaving the bottoms to flower out like a skirt. In one of the other boats as well, looks like you've attracted quite a lot of attention, Grildar, is Grost Direhand, the Minotaur, with his huge bearded axe in his hand, and he's got about 18 hound guards on a long rowboat, all with what looks like new weaponry. Some of them have the new Bretonian rifles that you've seen going around the barracks and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And at the back, you see there's also Captain Amon, the guy who's meant to be heading up the investigation that you guys met this morning, early hours after the vampire attack. And he looks like he's got a ledger in his hand, and he's looking around the cave and scribbling down notes. And then you hear Gross Direhand's, tone, his bassy tone scream out, "All of you stay where you are, and nobody needs get hurt." And Abrax brings his hands up, and you'll see him casting, and he dimension doors right into the middle of you all, straight into the middle of the cave, lands, looks around, he sees he's dragged one of the hound guards with him. The hound guard has a halberd, and he immediately points it towards the slaves that are shackled in the corner, and Abrax turns towards the rest of you with the sailors. I can't remember if they were chained or not.
No, the sailors aren't chained.
Yeah, they're not chained anymore.
Free to
and
get the boat going.
And he's flicking magic between his fingers. This it's very it's kind of like almost bright, vivid red skin, Abrax. And he says, Ironblood. And he looks
Thank you
around.
for coming.
He takes in the carnage, the dead Theoboans around him, the shields with the Pegasus symbol on, and he goes, "It seems you have kept yourself busy, friend." He kicks one of the corpses on the ground, and as it rolls over, you see its guts spill out.
When did Grildor rock up? I thought he was still.
He came down the stairs.
Alright, did he bring the kids with him?
No, they're still hovering up on the stairs behind you.
With Lantix, I'm guessing.
Lantix is nowhere to be seen.
With Chester?
Chester is down here with you, talking to the slaves, telling them his story with a jug in hand.
He's very drunk, if you remember, Curtis.
Yes.
Very drunk.
Very.
And he's going, "Did I tell you the story of how I slayed a dragon?" to the hound guard. And the hound guard's like, "Get on your knees!" And he's like, "I'm Chester Dacker! I will not!" And he goes, "Oh, you're Chester, the one who won the arena?" And then he goes, "I am." And you see the hound guard kind of push the shaft of the halberd and just move him away from the slaves, like kind of forcing him to the left. And he goes, "I also took down this rebellion, I have you know," before he trips over and kind of sits down in the dirt. Yeah,
Yes, busier than I care to be quite frank.
He looks around and says, "Well, Kofu's going to want to know everything that happened here. We all got your messages and sorted it easily. A rebellion. I mean," he looks around seeing all the shields and, and he just says, "Looks like you managed to do good today."
Yes, just.
Well, I don't need to know the story, but Grost and Kofu will probably need to know. If it involves a rebellion, the Blood General will probably want to do. And what about your friends? What part did they have to play? He sees the blood all over and all the bits of flesh attached to the berserker axe of Makra and the arrows embedded in all of the guards.
Yes, something a bit more urgent first. There's still some children up top. Makra's children, I'll point to Makra.
He runs his hand across his like horns and scratches the back of his neck. "I'm not really good with children."
Just send someone up. Also, Makra's undead ex? Question mark life? Yes, supposedly dead, but we heard that there might be more trouble there.
Okay, well, the story will come out in time. There's no need to explain
Something
it
about an
right now.
undead plague.
No, there's urgency in this. Please send someone up to have a look there, and secure the island. Make sure that no one can leave if anyone's still on the island.
Okay. He turns around and points a finger towards one of the boats approaching. And then you hear him muttering under his voice, and under his breath. And then he brings his hand back and says, "It's done."
Thank you.
He walks around, like, taking in all of the situation, Abrex. And he did tell you last session when you met him in the morning that he joined private investigation team since he's lost his job, just like you did.
Yep.
So he's kind of like taking a preliminary search, and the hound guard that looks very nervous. You see there's perspiration on him as he doesn't know where to point his halberd, either at the slaves who are kind of cowed in the corner, or he turns towards the sailors. "Oh, well, you don't need to hit me," says the head sailor. And yeah, we're willingly giving up. And then they all kind of like sit down.
Yeah, I'll just walk over to the hound guard, seeing this, and I'll just like, with one finger, just lift his spear in the air, and point the tip away.
Okay.
At ease. I don't think they'll be running anywhere anytime soon.
Okay.
Well, not the sailors. I'm not talking about you, Adrian.
We were using the sailors to ready the boat, so...
Within minutes, the rowboats like kind of smash up against the side of the cave, and you see like ropes come up, and that hound guard runs over to help. And by the time 5 minutes is up, the cavern is swarming with hound guard. Grost is walking around, picking sailors up, shoving them towards the rowboats. The slaves, however, are largely unmolested until if anyone wants to get involved. But it looks like the hound guard aren't bothering with you guys at all. They're just moving these sailors, and some of them are investigating the bodies. And you see one Captain Amon walks up with what looks like a white robed figure with a black streak. It looks like 3 slashes across his robe, and he sits
Do I
down.
recognize the uniform?
Yes. That is a cleric of Anubis. Of the Grave Domain, they normally are. And he sits down, puts one hand on the guard, and then the guard goes... and he says, kneels down, and you don't really hear the questioning, but when he's done, he clicks his fingers, and the body of the Theobar rebellion just burns up with radiant fire. Then he turns up, begins speaking to Gross Direhand, who then turns to you all and says, well done. With what he said, you did indeed put down whatever they were planning. More information will be forthcoming, and you see the cleric of Anubis walk around individually to each of the corpses, and then they will, as they like snap back up, and he begins interrogating them using his spells. And it looks like they're piecing together information, and you guys look around nervously, I'm assuming.
Well, not me.
Oh, I know, them two. Is there anything you two would like to do? Like, you see Chester goes...
I'm using my passive deception to just act like nothing's the matter.
Yeah, Captain Amon does approach you, Macra. You know, this, remember the guy that I explained it's so lawful good it hurts? He approaches you, and he's got his ledger open, and he says, "Oh, Macra, it seems you have been involved in more exciting events since this morning. I mean, it was only 3 hours ago that I was questioning you about, you know, the attack in your alleyway. So can you please tell me some details? How did you know about this ship here? And how do you think it relates to the dragon attack at the port?"
She's behind it! 100% she's behind everything.
He looks behind him and then goes, "Oh, don't scare me like that."
Well,
Okay, I'll scare you differently next time.
I thought she was behind me.
Well,
I don't think Lady Greenridge is behind this, but
Okay.
that's why I'm here. And I'll point towards my kids. I'm like, they were kidnapped by my undead wife.
Do you mind?
One I mentioned it.
Do you mind, Macra, if I please go question your kiddies?
Yeah, I want me present, at least. Probably traumatized enough as it is.
Well, how about this? I come tomorrow after they've had rest.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, and you see Gross Direhand climbing up the staircase with a bunch of hound guards following Grildar's claim that there's something upstairs and outside.
With his magic of casting up these bodies and his attire, is it pretty obvious that this guy's...
What, sorry?
the guy with the 3 slashes as a cleric.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure. Yeah, and a very
So,
powerful.
Macro recognise him as a cleric as well. Then yeah.
Yeah, you've heard of these Brothers of the Hound, these Anubis-based clerics that like train from a young age. They're taken from like local hamlets and local provinces at quite young age and trained like not a pun but religiously. They're brought up as children to they as children and teenagers they have a vow of silence. They take a vow of celibacy. They dedicate their life to death, and because death is no mystery in the Empire, it's worship just as much as life is. Death is seen as a way to the next world, a new world beyond this. Everyone knows that you line up, get judged, your heart gets weighed against the feather soul, and you move on. However, they're very respected, but at the same time very feared. It's said that if one comes to your household, you should always give them succor. You should always let them in, because they travel around the country performing funeral rites, helping people. The only time they really speak is when they've got a job to do, or when they're reporting. They're very stern and very... No one will see one drink, no one will see one have fun, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And
when I see him having a fag break or something, or when he's stopped casting at all these bodies, at least
he doesn't seem to stop until he looks visibly exhausted with sweat pouring off his brow.
I'll wait till that point then.
He clicks his fingers towards the hound guard with a halberd and says, "You over here," and he says, "Take the head." And the squeamish hound guard goes, "Excuse me?" He says, "I said." And he grabs the Fearbone's helmet, knocks it off, grabs it by its top knot, and holds the entire body up and says, "Head, now." And the hound guard kind of like, as if he's about to take like a golf shot, and he goes, "Oh, you." And he draws a kriss from his side, hands it, and says, "Start soaring. Go diagonally." And you see the hound go, and you all hear the squelching as it begins to go through the windpipe, through the neck, and he's like, "Oh, give me that," and he does it himself. Eventually you see him yank out this like head, and then using the hair he ties it to the side of the wall to let it dry out. "I'll question you later," and he just walks off.
Oh yeah, I'll wait till he stops moving at least, or until I can intercept him.
Okay, yeah, and as you step in he goes, "Yes?"
And I'll point to my blood-strewn axe. I'm like, seem to be slightly too attached to this thing.
He makes no there's no visible consternation, nothing that gives away that he cares, and he says, "And your point is, I'm busy."
Okay. Well, when you're not busy, could you help me?
What do you require?
Well, as I say, I think I'm a bit too attached to it. Is there anything you can help me with? Like, magically?
I can provide you with herbs, so it does not arouse you so much. Now leave.
I thought you'd be better at this. Never mind then.
Well, I do believe you are not explaining yourself correct, therefore the fault lies with you, Bugbear.
I don't know what other information... Alright then. I just walk away from him. I give up.
You see, he like anyone who's watching this exchange sees the disdain on the cleric's face as you walk off. He sighs, begins heading up the stairs.
Yeah, I'll like fall in beside the cleric and say to him, "Brother, good day."
"Oh, Gildar Ironblood."
Yes, I believe my friends are maybe somewhat limited in the vocabulary department, but he means well.
"Yes, I believe he does, but I'm busy and do not have time for his stupidity."
Understood.
Speaking straight is our way.
Believe the weapon might be cursed. It is brought down.
Cursed, that's the word.
He turns back around and goes, "Now that I understand," and begins to approach Makrar. Like he says, "Bugbear, Master Ironblood has told me that your axe is cursed.
Yeah, that.
That is why you are attached to it.
I think so, yeah.
Now, I am unable to purify the weapon and separate you both currently. But please, come by the kennels. Later, I will see to it.
I'll see you there.
He nods.
Cursed, right?
He says,
right.
when you get there, ask for me.
Your name?
Halim Al-Faraj.
Any waits for that to be written down?
Okay.
Something like that?
Close. No.
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
Nearly got it.
Yeah, see you later.
He nods and then leads up to the stairs, following Grost. And eventually, Captain Amon approaches you, Gwendeth. Hello.
Gwyneth was just standing next to the sailors, and whenever the priests were going to a dead body and questioning them, she would point over there and say, "Yeah, I shot that one, didn't shoot that one."
Yeah,
that
he
one,
approaches, and you see he's got his book in hand, scratching and scrawling. And he says, Gwendeth, I'm assuming you remember me. We met a few hours ago at the doorstep of Macros.
We did exchange a lot of,
Yeah,
evil
you
dragon
told me
theories.
all about, yes, that Rio Greenridge may be indeed be a black dragon. Interesting. So, please answer my questions. What happened here? You encountered the rebellion, but how did you encounter this rebellion? How did you know about it?
Oh, I had no clue there was anything here. We were just hunting Macross kids.
Okay, so I've come to understand that Macra's wife, or ex-wife, as he keeps putting it, was involved in the rebellion. Am I to understand that?
Oh, she was with them. I don't know how involved she was. She saw the dead, and they were raising dead people to, I think, invade the city.
He's scribbling.
I wasn't much involved, as uninvolved you can be when you shoot people with arrows, but I have no idea what they were doing here.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, thank you for your service to this great empire, Gwyneth. Sorry, Miss Redford.
Gwyneth is fine. We're basically friends now, right? We've met 3 times, that's enough to be friends.
Yes, friends. And you see a smile creep across his face, because I don't have many friends, that's nice to hear.
Oh, you're like the nicest guy I've met in this town.
Well, I didn't rise to be a captain of the Hound Guard without making a few rivals, and he looks towards the back of Grost heading up the stairs. People find me too overbearingly good. I think that was the word that Grost used. I begun my training as a paladin, you see, under a man called Achilles. I was his apprentice, but, let's just say Anubis would not accept me, and I never learnt the divinities. So now I am an investigator, a captain.
What race is he?
He's human.
Okay.
Yeah, just like you guys have met Achilles, of course. He fought in the arena against Macra and Arioso. His girlfriend was the one that cut his ankles on purpose. Yeah.
No, I get that. It's hard if you can't live up to what you wanted to do.
I've come to terms with that. I'm perfectly fine the way I am. I've still got this, and he points towards his head. My father says my noggin's full of ideas, and if I just reach in and pull them out, then I'll be a famous man. I'm working my way there. I intend to be Lord Captain. I'll work my way.
Yeah, my father always used to say, no dragon could ever kill a Redfoot.
Okay.
Basically true.
What happened to your father? He sounds like an intelligent dwarf.
Died from getting killed by a dragon.
Oh, he got killed by a dragon. My bad. I'm very, very sorry.
I seem to put my foot in it.
Well, it's just, one specific Redfoot that won't get killed by a dragon.
The thing is, Gwendeth, you notice, he's saying sorry stuff, but you can't help but think he's writing everything down as you're speaking. He doesn't stop writing. He's just writing everything that you are saying. And him, even. And he goes, oh, thank you for the information. And then walks up to one of the sailors, speaks, and as he begins to speak, you see him scribbling again.
Gwyneth does not like him speaking to sailors. So she goes to somewhere to put her mind off stuff and just goes to a different sailor and again points out which of the dudes she shot and which ones she didn't.
Okay, so within maybe 30 minutes of being left in this cave to your own devices, you see Chester snoring quite loudly in the corner, leant up against the wall. Grost comes down with your wife's body. She's covered in dirt, and he carries her down. And you see Fixu begins to cry as she sees her.
Are they fucking brain dead?
Mimu does
just pointing at her. 10 arrows. Everyone right hit. One in her spine.
Mimu says to Fixu, you hear her obviously. She goes, "Oh, shut up! You knew what she was doing."
I've got one of them on my side.
Right,
Eventually,
then, order of business.
yeah.
We would much appreciate if some reverence could be given to what this place actually is. I'd much appreciate if everyone could be cleared out of here as soon as possible and this place restored to some form of decency after what is a burial site.
Captain Amon says, "We are just going to take the evidence here, and we'll be gone."
Of course.
And he looks towards the boat and says, "Looks like we aren't taking that. However, we will get it repaired. It is valuable."
Indeed, I must also warn you that we have not had time for a thorough search of its holds.
No problem. We are here for the bodies. The bodies will tell all. He looks towards the cleric, and as the cleric stares at him, Captain Amon obviously doesn't like the captain. Amon goes, and just stares back toward, kind of doesn't make eye contact with him. Well, look, I'd like you all to get some rest. You can tell your story another time. And that's when the Jehelti Kofu walks up to you the first time. Says, "Sir Ironblood." He nods with respect.
Jehelti.
The God King will want to hear this story. This is not a matter for our council. Neither the God King's son, the Blood General. I will report, but you will probably receive a royal herald asking you to court.
Very well.
Expect the summons by the morning. This is a serious matter. Rebellion, I'm told. And there may still be these revenants lurking in the city.
Agreed. By what message will the message be delivered?
Royal Herald.
Magical or mundane?
Mundane. Royal Herald will approach. Currently, the Royal Herald is Hedda. She will come to you morning time.
I shall be expecting.
Whilst all this was go on, then I'm going to who's currently got my wasp.
It looks like Grost.
I'll go and try and retrieve a corpse.
Okay,
she needs to be cremated.
He says you may have her body back this evening once we've done our investigations.
All investigations is that.
Her body is not entirely alive, and we need to make sure that she is sanctified.
Right.
We do not.
Can't she just be cremated?
No, you were the one that told us that she was undead. We need to make sure her soul does not come back.
If she's cremated, how does that work?
I'm not going to pretend that I know a lot about reincarnation and revenants. Even he looks scared as the cleric eyes him. The brother here says that revenants sometimes return to different bodies, so we're going to make sure that her soul lingers still so we can purify.
Right. I want to deliver him back to my house this evening.
Yes, her body will be back this evening, hopefully. We are not that insensitive, Macro.
I'll go collect the kids.
Okay, so it doesn't take long before you're all ushered into rowboats. Is everyone ready to leave? It looks like Chester's being carried and dragged by 2 hound guards.
I've got a spare rowboat on the top north end of the beach. I was going to go to waste.
Yeah, I'll be ready to go once I get the okay that a couple of hound guards will clean up the tomb
Mm-hmm.
and just sanctify it again, basically, in the sense of
Never
get rid of
fear.
all the.
Never fear, Master Ironblood. I will do that. And the cleric points towards 2 hound guards. They immediately fall in line, and he begins his process of thorough investigation. It's something I didn't know, that the Ironblood tomb was here on Hunter's Island. I would like to make sure that this place is not desecrated.
Very good.
And then he points towards the rowboats. And
Yep.
you guys
I'll
are
get it on.
rowed with the Hound Guard out into sunshine. You see there are 2 war boats that had passed the cave entrance and now in like a diagonal line, leaving a channel for you to sail between.
Mm-hmm.
And your rowboats begin heading back towards the port at Shiadel, while some break off and head back to the warship, including all the sailors and the slaves. And eventually you guys arrive at the port of Shiadel, maybe an hour's in, and it's mid-afternoon. Remember, it's only been about 12 hours since the vampire attack. And you guys, at the moment Gwendeth and Makra get to the port, you realise how exhausted and tired you both are.
Oh, I'm falling asleep in the boat, I am.
Yeah, and as you approach the dock, you realise that your fisherman friend that you guys used to get to the island, his boat isn't tied or moored there. And as you approach, you see kids are going about their usual business, playing between the spears, and you see that Shiadel's in full swing. It's a little marketplace on the beach is open. The city is busy and frantic and busy as usual. I think I've said busy like 4 times then.
Yep.
Yeah, very busy city.
I fucked up the sentence twice and tried to correct myself.
It must be busy.
Yeah.
You see Flotsam is like kind of been dragged into the spears as well, the Bay of Spears, and there's like tons of it. And you see all the children are playing around, picking up like remnants of the ship that was destroyed last night.
It's only been 12 hours since that's been blown up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go to, bed and hang out at the place I put my pirate friend in.
The fresh flask.
To make sure, he's still there and the dragon didn't get him.
I'm gonna join you actually. Go on, kid. Home is not safe.
Alright, so Chester stumbles out and says, I have business to attend to, so if you don't mind me. And then he goes for a bow, kind of like hits his head, goes so deep he hits his head on the sand. Adieu! And then turns around with an exaggerated pirouette and walks away with the flask in hand.
Did they interview him,
Macra?
Makra?
Oh, sorry.
You stole the braces.
You are?
You stole the braces.
Yeah, well, the braces I took off him, what were they? What are they?
Braces of defense.
Braces of defense, nice.
Did they interview him as well?
No.
I mean, that's a point in our favor. That just, boosted
As much as I hate to do this, and I'll walk after Chester and grab his hand.
Hello, Master Ironblood. How can I help you?
I believe in your current state you should not be alone in the city.
I'm going to the library.
Yes, well how about you accompany me to the estate first and I'll have a carriage sent for you.
Of course.
No, just dread the whole way there, but it's better than losing him off somewhere and having to go find him later.
You guys stumble towards the road. It's a good 10-minute walk from Shiadel to the actual road. And as you get there and signal down a carriage, the slave stops and Chester just climbs in and just slumps into the back chair. And when you're going really fast down a motorway and there's a sleep person in the back and they fly around everywhere. He's doing that in the back of the carriage. And then he just kind of wakes up near the residence and says, are we there yet?
Almost.
Good, because I've got words to have with your butler.
Yes, I'm sure he'll have some for you as well.
Yes, I believe I purchased a property.
You need to rest.
Of course, but I would like to rest in mine own house.
No.
And just so you know, you've got the deed in your pocket.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember in the last 2 sessions ago, Randall gave you the deed to the place. Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. I will rest. And on the morrow, we have a house welcoming party.
Of course. And I'll have him put up in a room somewhere, and then the door locked so they can just sleep it off.
He immediately goes to the bed, puts the flask on the dressing table, and then just literally spread eagles into it.
Yep, sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll make sure to try and make sure the household's in some sort of order. See if Randall needs any assistance getting things done, or whether he's stabilized a little bit.
No, but the moment you walk in, Jandel walks up to you. I hear you've caused some commotion, but brother, we bring back Anrin this evening. Will you be there?
I shall.
No, he nods. We're going to do it at dusk. But...
Very well, Storm. Anything else to report?
Nothing really.
Good. I think we've had enough excitement for 24 hours.
He does, he nods. She nods, sorry, and says yes. I mean, I'm extremely tired, but I cannot sleep.
Understood. Would you like me to have Randall have some herbal tea sent up for you?
That would be lovely. She nods and heads towards her quarters.
Yep. Alright. And I'll just try and help Randall a little bit, because I'm sure that he's still overwhelmed with everything.
Yes, he's ordering servants and slaves and stuff around. But he looks like he's very tired. And the blow to his head has caused him a little bit of you can tell his eyes are bloodshot.
It's not quite as 100% as he should be normally.
Yeah.
Yep. With that, once everyone's settled in and stuff for the afternoon,
yep,
I will. I'll just go do some chores just to keep my mind occupied.
Yeah. Okay. And the rest of you?
Well, we show up at the inn.
Yeah, as you show up at the inn, the Triton is currently snoozing slightly at her bar, and the place is quite empty. You know, around about now would be working hours for most of the labourers and the normal folk.
I hit the desk really hard.
Her eyes open, but she doesn't start. And she says, "Your friend is fed like you asked."
Perfect. Now I want to be fed.
He nods.
On me, please. On these two.
So, for a silver piece, you guys could get a decent lunch, and she'll set you up.
We want a lunch and a bed so we can eat and then sleep.
5 silver pieces a night, like I said last time.
Well, you will get a gold piece for our sleeping quarters, and then you will get another gold piece so that when a dragon comes asking for me, I'm not here. Also, if Lady Greenridge comes asking for me, who is the dragon?
Of
Tell
course.
your friends.
You've mentioned this. You mentioned this morning.
And it's very important information.
Yes, well, I will take that, and I will protect your privacy from Lady Rhea Greenridge and the black dragon that is inside of her.
No, it's not... You're mocking me.
I am.
And that is not okay, because I'm warning you about a black dragon, which is a serious issue in our society.
Well, I believe you. I heard of a dragon attack this morning. You came in babbling about a dragon attack on a ship, and then news spreads around the city that there was a black dragon attack.
Thank you. Who is Lady Greenwich? It doesn't matter. Food, and then we'll sleep. I'll give you 2 gold pieces.
She takes it. And you, sir?
Same again, but then with 2 more
Right,
meals
so
as well.
You guys have brought out a healthy lunch of... It's like a thick slab of pork with potatoes, heavy root vegetables. You are also brought out a couple of tankards of kind of heavy, stodgy ale mixed with oats to give you a nice healthy kick. And then when you are done, she brings out a bowl of what looks like sliced melons with grapes and some exotic fruit that you guys aren't really familiar with. Kind of a green webbing like shape. And then she puts it down and says, your rooms are ready. I got you rooms right next door to your friend.
Perfect. I'll want to check on him before I go to bed.
Fair enough. You go check on Wave Cleaver?
Yeah.
Okay, so she gives you the key. And as you open the door, he's passed out in the bed. You see there's a load of vomit in the chamber pot.
I just check if he's still alive.
Yeah, and the air's got this really acrid sense to it. Like he's sweat for a fever, maybe in the last few hours. And he's maybe, soiled himself somewhat.
But he's still alive.
Oh yeah, you can see he's breathing heavily. Doesn't even wake up when you walk in.
I'm changing his sheets with the ones that are in my room.
Yeah, and the moment you go to move any of the sheets, he goes, starts up and grabs your arm, and you look into his bloodshot eyes. He says, "Oh, Gwendeth, I had the most terrible dream."
No, I'm afraid that wasn't no. First tell me your dream.
What?
Was your dream that everyone's dead?
Oh no, I know that.
Oh, okay, thank God. I thought I'd had to break it to you again.
I dreamt that my ex-wife was back with me.
Oh, I just killed someone's ex-wife. That's a very, that's a coincidence.
She was a kraken and a hearth.
Mine was undead. I'm just gonna change these sheets, and then you can go back to sleep.
Yeah, he stands up, walks up to the chamber pot, begins pissing while you're doing it.
I'll put my head in he smells like he needs a doctor or a cleric.
Well, I had some greenish stuff in my lungs, but I puked it all up here.
No, that's how you deal with black dragon attacks.
I believe some toxins have been expunged. He lets go of himself as he takes in the room. Yarr, I could do with an ale.
Yeah, it sounds better at least anyway.
Oh yeah, just go downstairs and drink what you want. Put it on my tab.
Yarr, you a good one, you.
Well, sort of my fault, so...
He picks at his tusk. Ugh, licks it.
And since Grandeth has now made the bed, and he's apparently going downstairs, Grandeth just takes the bed.
Okay, so you sleep in it, and you notice that his patch has got like a George Wavecleaver shaped sweat mark.
Dwarf. I don't think she cares.
Fair enough, you climb in, and eventually George comes up and goes, "Yarr. It's been a while since a lady's been in my bed, but I'll leave you to it. I'll be downstairs getting sloshed on this stodgy ale, which gives you the shits." He walks off.
Grandeth just does his thumbs up without moving.
Alright, so I'm assuming you two are getting a long rest.
Yeah, I'll drag kids into the room, put them to bed.
Yeah, they are so exhausted that they immediately fall to sleep as well. And we'll go over to Grildar then. What are you doing for the day? Are you getting some rest?
Yeah, just some light rest. I'm not sleeping, but I'll do some chores and rest for a while. Read. Just make sure the household's running okay, because I've got stamina left in me. And I'd rather not have everyone down in the dumps, because that'll get me down. So just trying to do things that people don't feel like doing because they're dealing with shit, and getting them done for them.
Yeah, but by the time dusk comes around, Randall comes to get you, and as you're deep in a book, and he says, "Master Ironblood, sir. Jendel wishes you downstairs."
Very well.
And
I'll close the book.
Yep, and as you head downstairs, at the desk you see everyone that had survived the accident. Lasria is there, of course. It's Lasria, you, and your elder sister, right? And she says, "Here it is." And she hands forth a very, very expensive looking scroll. The scroll has all of this decoration all around it, and it permeates magic. The moment she puts it on the desk, there's a spark of yellow energy around it. She says, "Who wants to do the honors?"
Jindal.
She pops the seal on it, and there's like a magical spark. Unravels it. And as she begins to read, her voice takes on a cacophony. Like there's 1,000 of her speaking at the same time. But it's got a seraph quality to it, an angelic quality that permeates the room, makes the curtains vibrate, the ground begins to shake slightly. And you see Randall kind of looks a bit worried as he looks around the room. Lasria's in awe. And as she speaks at the end, she finishes the arcane incantation, the divinity, really. And then she says, Anrin Ironblood. Just says her name. And there's a pause, pregnant pause, as you all hold bated breath. And then right next to you, Grildar, there's a flash of yellow light. And forming, very slowly in the seat, is the yellow outline of your sister, Anrin.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she's fully formed, it takes maybe 30 seconds, she leans her elbow, turns towards you, Grildar, and says, Brother, may I change my mind about the lycanthropy subject we had on Ascension Day? I don't believe that we should give lycanthropes any quarter. It's a disease. I've come to that conclusion.
And I'll just nod to the rest.
Yeah, they all kind of look weirdly. She goes, while I was waiting in the line to have my heart weighed, by the way, the line is very long, I had a lot to ponder.
Yes, we've also had a lot to ponder. Please sit.
She sits, looks around. I've come to terms with what happened.
I'm not sure you have.
She narrows her eyes and says,
Randall, if you could, please.
and
And then I'll beckon for him to go and fetch a drink.
yeah. Some stout dwarven wine is brought out, the kind of fortified wine that you get. And she goes, oh, do tell me what's happened in the days that I've been gone. She thinks it's days, and you guys... Jendal says, it's been 9 hours. And she goes, well, I guess logic dictates that time does move differently in a realm of death.
So it does. Now please, drink.
Yes, she immediately guzzles the wine and goes, thirsty work waiting in a queue.
I will take your word for it. And I'll fill her in on what else has happened in the meantime.
And eventually she's like, oh, a rebellion. I always knew you would do good things. If it's only been a few hours, perhaps I should let people know I'm okay. What about Zashida? I should let her know I'm okay.
And then I'll fill her in on everything else that's happened.
She goes, oh, Zashida is missing too. My. Well, I've got no words. And for the first time, I guess that's a first. As she looks around, and all your family nod.
I'll just hand her more wine.
Mm-hmm. She begins to drink more. Oh, God. Hate people. Ugh. And the evening goes by with her. There's laughter, there's tears, there's kind of drunken singing. There's a little bit of Anrin coming to terms with the fact that your parents are dead.
Mm-hmm.
Jindal takes her downstairs and she picks one of the items of your father's armor set. Comes back up wearing the girdle. And she goes, hey, brother! And she kind of stumbles against the side and goes, look at this. And she looks to the right and picks up the entire long table. Ha ha! Ha ha ha! This is why father could lift an ox. And then she puts the table down again. And then goes, what can I do with my newfound strength? I could lift more books.
Yes, perhaps you should reconsider.
No, I think the belt does look fetching on me. Thank you, brother. What's wrong with you, Curtis?
Just laughing at you.
What, my nose?
No, your it looks fetching comments.
Oh, I know, like, I'm literally suffering here. Like a proper...
I'm just like the librarian with fucking 22 strength.
Yeah, and it's not 22, but yeah. And the evening goes by without much in the way of trouble. You notice that you've got a lot of guards around the estate and stuff like that, but they don't interfere with family business. And if it's okay, we'll skip to the next day.
Yep.
So you've all got a long rest. You can give yourself all your hit points, spell slots, etc., etc.
I imagine Cleaver and I were alternating bed use and drinking, and sometimes we'd be drinking together, and sometimes both sleeping at the same time.
He tells you a lot of stories as well, and he goes, "Yarr, I wish you could come see Atlantia. It's fantastic floating city.
Oh, we can go there after the dragon is dead.
It's some journey away."
I don't have anything lined up in my calendar for after the dragon is dead.
Well,
Just looks at Khan, just kill dragon,
I
kill
guess
dragon,
I
kill
should.
dragon.
Yeah, it's the next day after you guys are having breakfast, and he's like, you see that the kids actually really like him. He's like, he can juggle, so he's like juggling some of the forks and knives and spoons.
Gwyneth is really happy that they are not currently taking revenge on her. She's
and he goes, "Yeah, I should be petitioning to the wharf master, I believe. Get some compensation for 60 dead and a crew gone to the sea."
But did you have insurance?
No, I don't know what that is.
Must be a dwarf-only thing.
Yeah, probably it is. But I will petition. I believe the Bretonian mistress, Amelie Tinker, is in the city. And the Bretonians are allied with the Atlanteans. Us. Hopefully I can petition on behalf and get a boat back home, or perhaps secure myself a sloop and hire a crew. Yeah,
I wish you the best in that. We did kind of, save the city from a rebellion, so we're still waiting for compensation on that. I think you should at least stick around till we got anything back.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Most of my riches and stores of gold are currently at the bottom of the sea.
Can you not go and try and save some of it, or you're not gonna be able to get reach it?
Have you got fins and gills, Master Macra? And he leans into the kids. Has your father a fish? Does he lay eggs? And they're kind of giggling at him. I don't think so.
Eggs?
If I had one of those deep ones with me, I could have sent him down. But I do not have a deep one, and I believe your empire likes to kill deep ones and eat them.
We need a ship with a diving bell on it.
All that, yes.
Oh, I've always wanted to go in one of them. Let me know when you're doing that.
Funny enough, my ship had a diving bell.
I want to point out that black dragons are aquatic, and there is one around, and I wouldn't want to dive in an area with a black dragon around.
Yeah, there is that.
That's just general, life advice.
Mm.
Now, if you'd excuse me, I'm gonna rent a chair from this bar owner, place it in front of Lady Greenridge's infirmary, and write down everyone who goes in and out.
That's amazing. The Triton woman who owns the fresh bar says, "Silver piece a day, as long as you bring it back."
It's a good deal. I put down the silver piece, take the chair, go to the infirmary, and at a 50-meter distance, just plonk down the chair and sit there.
Okay, so are you even trying to hide, or are you just right in front?
I'm just sitting in the general vicinity of the thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright, so as Gwen definitely leaves with her seat in tow, under her arms, he leans in and goes, "Yo, that's a mighty fine picture you've got there." And it's Mimu is doing her usual. She's found some charcoal, and she's drawing.
Oh, here we go.
And she goes, "Yeah, I mean, this is you." And then she hands him a piece of paper, and he goes, "Yeah, little one, what am I doing here on this?" And it looks like it looks like he's on a rowboat, but he looks overly sized for the rowboat, and he's got a sword in one hand and a flag in the other. And she goes, "Oh, nothing in particular, you're just victorious." And he goes, looks at her and says, "Yar, I don't feel victorious, little one." He goes, "But you will be," and then moves on to her next picture. And Fixu is the only one that seems to alternate between sadness and giggles at the captain. She kind of occasionally just looks down at her porridge and just kind of flicks it back down at a bowl, not eating any. Then occasionally laughs at the captain and his accent and the fact that he can juggle and tell jokes, etc., etc. So, Macra, what are you up to? Are you going to take the kiddies home, I'm assuming?
Home doesn't exist anymore. I think home gets burnt down, so we get the insurance claim. I'll tell the kids wait here. Mm-hmm. I'll nip my head around home, see if tell the neighbours that I won't be back, and then I'm probably going to the Ironblood estate. Alright.
I mean, okay. So as you get home, and the Triton says she'll look after the kids, they're a joy to have around, and Wavecleaver says, "Yeah, I'll keep them entertained while you go about your business, Macro."
Good man.
And as you head back home, you notice that the door's been opened, and you notice there is a guard outside, a hound guard. And as you approach, he's got his sword sheathed, he's just got his shield out front. Master Macra. And he points towards the door. And you look in and you see it's been completely tidied up. There's a new table. This is on behalf of Captain Amon, sir. And you notice that there is a casket of wicker, and weaved in between all of the wicker and all of the lid is mint leaves, ivy, and fresh herbs to keep the body from smelling.
Ah.
Yeah, you did want it delivered home.
I did. Forgot about that. I didn't
says,
realise it'd be this.
It came early hours this morning, and I've been here since. May I leave, sir?
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you.
How many times do these children have to see their mom's dead body?
They're gonna help me. I'll poke my head in the basket. Has the body been prepared?
It's been prepared. She is missing all of her organs, as is expected, and they're in jars stuffed between the side of her body and the wicker. And you see that the jars have the thick, viscous yellow liquid that keeps them embalmed.
Right. I'll pick up the basket then, and we can scratch the Ironblood estate off for now, and we'll go back to...
As you're leaving, Barkabus, the half-orc, he goes, "Oi, oi, oi! You need some help with that, big fella?"
No, I'll be fine, mate.
You sure?
Yeah, I need to do it by myself, mate. Probably not going to be back home for a while. Probably be better for you lot as well, if I'm not back home for...
He goes, "Yeah, you see he's got a bandage around his crotch, like it goes around his thigh and his crotch." He goes, "Yeah, that thing kicked me good in the bollocks."
Yeah.
They had to
I won't tell you where I'm going, just so a little less information you have, probably, to see if you are.
Alright, big fella, I'll look after your house if you want.
Alright then, mate. I'll keep in touch.
He nods and says, "Don't be a stranger, I'll look out for you."
I'll stick my thumbs up as I'm walking off with this wicker basket on my shoulder.
Yeah. As you do, you're garnering a lot of attention through Shidell. People begin to fall in behind you.
Okay, cool. I like that.
And they're just following you wherever you like. And you see most of them, a lot of the wives and women folk are like spreading petals down in your wake.
Just keep my head down, solemn. Make my way back to the hotel.
And as you make your way back to the hotel, you have to take a boat. The slave looks at you, takes one look at the casket, looks at you again. "Of course, sir. No charge." And then begins rowing you across the river towards the Avbu Avenue.
I'll probably still flick him some money anyway. Before I get on the boat, I'll just put my hand up to the people that are always they're following me.
And
on the boat.
They're all saying prayers to you and wishing you well, basically. And one of the childish orcs, like she's probably only about 9, so she's coming to adulthood, but not particularly there yet. Runs up and hands you a bouquet of flowers.
I should nod at her and smile.
In Shidell, because it's such a small little ramshackle town, when people die and there's a funeral, it tends to be a whole town affair. It tends to be like everyone comes to pay their respects at the pyre, which is normally done on the beach, and the ashes are blown into the sea. Yeah.
Well, I'll just put my head in and go, "Kids, we'll go in the beach."
But before that, as you walk past Gwendef, would you make a perception check?
Oh, fuck. Yeah, sure.
This is the first roll of the night.
Yeah.
11.
11. Okay, so you've been watching. You don't see Rhea Greenwich come out. You see some of her nurses clad in white robes with white hoods, leave, come, go, bring back baskets full of herbs, salves. A cleric of Anubis walks in, comes out seconds later. He washes his hands in the basin outside, and then leaves. You don't see Rhea Greenridge at all.
Well, I'm not watching her. I'm watching just the patients going in and specifically out.
You see 3 or 4 patients come in. You see a guy walk in itching his crotch. You see a guy walk in who's like got his arm in a brace, and another one who's being rushed in by 2 town guards who's got an arrow in his groin. And he's rushed in. And then you see a woman go in. She's got a big swollen stomach, belly, obviously pregnant. Walks in, and then comes out with a smile on her face. Her husband helping her into the carriage. It's about it. All you see all morning.
Reynolds just sits there going, "This looks suspiciously like a hospital."
When I walk past Gwenda, I'm like, "Are you bored yet?"
No, I can do this all day. This is basically dragon hunting, and everything about dragon hunting excites me.
Alright, okay. Well, I'll have a break from dragon hunting for an hour. I'm going down to the beach.
Should I come?
Yeah, you're coming. I'll poke my head in the hotel and shout up to the kids.
Yeah.
Does he have the dead body of the wife with him?
He has a casket, a big 6 foot long wicker basket.
I don't feel like I sort of killed her, so I feel really weird about being at her funeral.
Yeah, that's probably why I should be there. But I'll shout him down. George, are you coming as well? Fancy an hour down the beach?
He pokes his head out and squints at the sun. Yar, give me a second. And comes out with a fresh tankard of ale.
Gwenda comes and brings her chair with her.
Yep.
Make our way down to the beach then.
Alright, so should make your way down to the beach. The place, this side of the beach, remember, is quite desolate. Unlike Shidell, which is basically built on the beach.
Yeah.
The beach of Avbu Avenue is more of a kind of rocky affair. It's sandy, but it's filled with kind of like rocks and less likely to be a place where people go to relax, basically.
Yeah. I'll go. I'll put the wicker basket down then, just so it's not getting hit by the incoming tide, but as close to the water as I can get, I guess. And then I'll go collect some dried drift, and I'll encourage the kids and everyone else to do the same.
Yep, and within 2-3 hours, you've got enough for a good pyre.
Pour it. Is it low tide or high tide?
Definitely low tide.
Alright then, yeah. So we'll put the pile, so it's just so it will get washed away by high tide when it comes in. It's max at least, anyway. Pile the wood up, stick the wicker basket on. I'll take the lid off the basket, and I'll get the girls to braid some of the bow into her hair.
Okie dokie, so yeah, the funeral goes without a hitch. Some passers-by do stop to pay their respects, noticing what's happening. And Gwendeth, you hear some footfalls crunching on the gravel and the stone behind you, and someone approaches from behind, and she stands there.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Looks down and says, "I'm busy this afternoon. I've been called to court." And then she looks down at you and says, "Would you can sit outside my hospit for as long as you want? You'll find
I will. Look, there's no way you just have a hospital. I don't buy this." Well, at first I was buying it, but then I spoke to some sailors whose rebellion I crushed, and they were like, "That can't be right. Why would you have a hospital?" And I was like, "Yeah, that makes no sense. So why do you have a hospital?"
She just blinks at you, silent, and says, "I'm caring for people. What does it matter?"
Well, I want to unearth some, dastardly plot so I can, shoot you with more self-respect.
You see she's dressed for court in what looks like samite and purple robes with a nice girdle which pulls in a womanly figure quite tight. She's wearing a kind of a netting over her hair, and it's braided into these 3 braids that are then plaited down her back. She's got jewels up her arms in bracelets. She wears big thick rubies on her fingers, and her face has lots and lots of makeup to cover up any blemishes that may have been there. And she says, "We are now equal. Give it up, Gwendeth."
When I thought, oh no, look. Your first point was I killed your entire family, you killed mine, which, I thought that was fair, but then you killed the pirates, and now I'm like...
In retaliation for you stealing from some of my friends.
I don't know those people, I'm just hanging out with the other guys.
Well, that's a shame then, isn't it, that they managed to get caught up in your stupid, illegal activities.
But no, I got caught up in their stupid illegal activities.
Look, Gwendeth, this is a funeral, and it's disrespectful for us to argue. I just wanted to tell you that you can sit there as long as you want.
I will do that.
How about you come in and take a look around? I'm sure some of my assistants would allow you to just peruse the hospital beds.
That just seems kind of weird, doesn't it? This whole thing. I'll come half the way with you because we're talking a lot, actually. And I shot that woman to death, so I don't even feel like I should be here.
Sounds like a Redfoot. Shooting family members of friends to death.
But occasionally, as much as anyone does it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
He did ask me to do it.
Did he now? Of course. Anyway, let's walk and talk. And she leads you back towards the infirmary. And outside of it, she folds her arms underneath her chest and says, "My carriage is arriving. If you've got anything else to say it now."
No, the usual thing. I'm really tired because I was staying up the whole night squashing a rebellion. But just pretend I said all that stuff about revenge. I usually do.
Of course, like a tired old book. Look, you stop chasing me, and I'll stop hurting you.
Well, currently I'm not really chasing you, I'm just checking out your infirmary.
Fine. And then the carriage arrives, and it's like an opulent-looking carriage, covered in all kinds of arcane symbols. She steps in, and as she closes the door, the window slides down. It says, "Have a lovely morning and afternoon, Miss Redfoot." And she goes, "Go," and the slave just leads her off.
Rose just looks if there's any passerby she can tell that was a dragon. And
yeah, there's one guy in like a head wrap, and he's got his t-shirt off. Looks like he's had a nice morning's worth of work, and he just walks past you.
She's a dragon.
Of course, ma'am.
No one believes this story. Greenwich just plunks down her chair and sits in front of the infirmary, arms crossed.
Okie dokie. So we move over to Grildar. Grildar, at some point in the morning, roughly maybe an hour before this event is happening here, the Royal Herald arrives. You've seen her before, but you didn't take much notice of her because Chester was talking to her the last time you met her. She's a girl of perhaps 15, 16, 17. She's really hard to tell the age of. She has a blindfold wrapped around her eyes, and she has small antler horns, that protrude back from her forehead and wrap close to her long blonde hair, which is, at the moment, loose, kind of disheveled as if she's just got out of bed. And she goes, "Hello," as she walks in the door. She does a cartwheel, a somersault, and then lands on her hands and walks in on her hands before landing back on her feet and then standing there with a bow and a flourish.
Good morning.
Master Ironbloods. "Hello, my name's Hadar Whitehorn."
Good morning. Shall we be off?
Yes, we will. A royal barge is waiting for all of us. If you would, please. And you see Jendel and you, basically. Jendel, because she's the head of the family and she needs to be there anyway, and you because of what happened, yeah. And as you walk out, there's a 6-horse carriage. She goes, "Expediency is on my master's mind, of course. The Shah of Damakar wishes everyone to be on time."
And I'll just get in without a word.
And within 30 minutes, you're in the market district, headed. You climb out onto a barge, and on the royal barge opposite you, most awkwardly, Grildar, is Hadral Morningstar, of whose daughter was killed during your raid. And he eyes you. It looks like in the last couple of years since that happened, he's aged a lot. Where once he was a tall man with a muscular frame, frame. He's now kind of a wiry-looking man with a bit of a beer belly and sunken eyes. His stint in the prison obviously didn't do him any favours, but he doesn't look too well. And next to him sits Rhea Greenridge. You've met her, of course, in Phoebo, and she's plucking grapes from the vines and eating them and talking what looks like absolute drivel to her drow Morningstar, who's ignoring her. To your left on the bench is Hassim Gravewarden and his son Mularak. Hassim Gravewarden is a tall, wiry, dark-skinned man with white dreadlocks, but he has this forked beard, which has always kind of pointed him out to everyone else. This white forked beard that he keeps oiled, and it comes out a good fucking foot from his chin. His son, however, is a miniature version of him, whereas he doesn't have white dreadlocks, he has pitch black dreadlocks, and he has a small forked beard, goatee, that's oiled with braids and bones and little skulls of animals that travels down his chest. And Hassim has always been... The Grave Warder's always been a family friend. And Hassim leans in and says, I am sorry of what happened to your family, my friend.
I'll just nod. Appreciate it.
Hopefully today we get some answers. We are to meet with Alexandra to Peck. The Mefusela will have a lot to listen and a lot to say, I believe.
I do expect so. It's...
Okay, well, and he reaches forward and takes the tea from the table as you're being rowed over the river towards the Moonlit Shield. Once you get to the Moonlit Shield, there's like a high presence of guards. You are led into the giant pyramid structure through its main entrance, which is maybe 80 feet tall, with statues of Ra either side that have had their heads knocked off. Headless statues of Ra. And you see they're like kind of like an obsidian look to them. And as you walk into the darkness, it's very cool in here, and the ground gives off this pale moonlight glow. You are led through the palace all the way up some stairs around, and you notice, like, of course, as it gets taller and taller, the rooms get smaller and less opulent until you reach the throne room, where a large table is set out with food down the middle. On the far end, you can see the sand throne, a sandstone kind of lacquered looking throne where the God King would normally sit. And Hadar leads you in, but she does a somersault, slides across the ground, kind of does a capoeira move before landing perfectly in her seat at the head. And the rest of the nobles take their seats either side, and refreshments are given. Cold, cool wines, figs, and different types of like cactus fruits are given out, including pipe smoke and tobacco, and of course this is a formality that goes on for about an hour, and where the nobles can get their bearings. Rhea Greenridge is smiling flirtatiously, being quite talkative, and she goes, they always like to keep us late, don't they? And at that moment the side door opens and shuffles in an old woman, and everyone stands immediately, noticing the Mefusela. Mefusela is an 80-plus-year-old woman. She kind of small and bent over, but the respect she demands from the nobles is incredible. A woman of charity and the first wife of the God King, she holds a massive amount of sway in the political structure of the Mokhul Empire. She ushers, like, with one hand, moves away Hadar, goes, "Oh, sorry, miss," and then slides off the ground and does a kind of like a flip, and then lands on her feet, stands there, even though she's blind and everyone's amazed by it, watching her. But she is kind of like wrinkled, she's got jowls, although she's still a slight, slim woman. She wears a diaphanous kind of pink-violet robe over pure white, snowy, thick linens. She also wears a head mask covering most of her face, revealing just her nose and eyes. And as she sits down, she adjusts it slightly, and you can see like the frayed bits of grey, wiry hair underneath that headdress. Behind her, a door next to the sand throne opens, and there's heavy footsteps as the 7-foot-tall God King walks out, takes the stairs to the sandstone throne, sits heavily, his face a mask of apathy behind a gold smiling mask, and he just sits down. And you see that the Royal Herald cart flips, triple somersaults, sideways somersaults, slides, climbs up the stairs on all fours, and then sits on his knee, watches with apathy across the across the proceedings. The Methuselah then says, I'd like to welcome you all here to discuss what has been happening in the city in the last 2 nights. First, I'd like to send forth my condolences to the Ironblood family for all that they have lost in these past 2 nights. And Jendel nods at her. First, we'd like to discuss the rebellion. Our investigators have found that everything that happened is true by the words of Master Ironblood and your friends. A reward is in the works, but if you have anything you'd like to put forward, Master Ironblood, please do so right now. You know your friends more than anybody. If you could please tell us what their hearts desire, we will reward them. The sailors will be put to death tomorrow morning, hanged from Custon Bridge.
So what's up, guys? Chariot?
The slaves will be put back into the system. The ones that cooperated have been freed. And everyone nods agreement at this. However, they did have a lot of goods on them, the total of which reached 34,000 gold pieces. That wealth, most of it has gone towards this investigation, but remember,
Bureaucracy, fuck me.
but Master Ironblood,
Okay, now.
if you require anything, especially in these hard times for your family, we are willing to. And she looks back at her husband, who gives like an almost imperceptible nod. Willing to help in these trying times.
Your offer of assistance is most greatly appreciated, and I'll do the formality stuff. I'll say, it has occurred to me that with everything that has happened, more so now than ever before, this city is no longer my home.
That's a shame to hear, Master Ironblood.
Indeed, and although I might not call it home anymore, I will make sure to keep its best interests at heart, of course. As I'll try and find out what I can about this rebellion elsewhere.
Your words were heard, Master Ironblood. She nods. That's funny enough. It's funny enough, right? Because I did actually. That reminds me. I did actually mention that. Why as you walk through the moonlit shield, there are literally
cats
everywhere.
They are back in scene.
And I'll say, if you were to be so kind, it would be most appreciated if we were to have some means of travel for me and my companions.
Means of
as we go about our business.
What type of travel do you require? We have the best bred horses in the Empire.
Well, if we are to go and deal with the Bowens coming by sea, it must appear that we'll need naval transportation.
Of course. Naval transportation. We can provide you with a sloop.
If it makes life less complicated, we do have crew. Well, some crew.
You do? Well, of course. But will a sloop do for your needs, Master Ironblood?
That would be doubtful. If we need to sail the oceans, I fear it will be difficult.
A sloop will do fine in the ocean.
I have no idea how big a sloop is.
Sloop is a
I
classic
googled it!
Yeah, it's a classic pirate ship that, like, quick, gets in and out.
Ah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, with recent trade with Bretonia, we've acquired the shipbuilding necessary to create such ships.
Very good. Armaments?
Weapons.
Or should I discuss these with the shipmaster, perhaps?
Yes, I'm afraid that you will have to purchase such things on your own. The Empire is less likely to provide you with cannons and helipolis and soldiers than we are to provide you with.
Hey, can we have some catapults from Game of Thrones?
No.
I'll be up for that instead.
You...
The one's pre-nerf though, please.
No. Okay, so she continues. We'll have it ready within a week.
Very well, and then there is a small matter of this, and I'll plop out the deed.
What is this?
This is an establishment that has been... Well, we had intended to leave this to one of my patrons. I'll explain about Chester and his winning the arena, etc.
I watched it. She was there. She says, I watched it along
Yeah.
with my house. Chester Decker, the one that managed to persuade Darioso to leave the fire. Oh, a marvellous show. Cheating, if I might add, but it was hilarious enough. Then we let it go through.
Indeed.
There is a slight chuckle from the God King.
I'll chuckle as well, he has his ways.
Yes, I know the type of man.
I fear he is incorrigible and hard to stomach sometimes, but one cannot deny the effects that he achieves, and I therefore must request that some more secure form of housing is found for him than this, and I'll hand her the deed. And basically the idea is to get him somewhat more of a decent place in case he doesn't want to travel with us. So I'm not sure whether he wants to.
She goes, Mizzitartan is a nice place opposite the library, but if you require more of a fortification, we can put him into the Indalai Valley. It's the least I could do for somebody that uncovered the rebellion. The Indalai Valley suits you just fine, Master Butler. I mean, it is close to where you live. Of course, I will find him residence in the valley and pass this deed back to where it came from. Now, she leans over to Hadrau and says, and the issues with your family, Hadrau, is sorted, mistress. Good. And then she leans to the Grave Wardens. Are you providing the necessary backup to the hamlets and villages suffering from said disease that seems to be spreading? Of course, mistress. He stands up. We have sent many of our clerics and brothers. We should have reports within the week of what it actually is. And she nods. She looks towards Rhea Greenridge, and there's like a smile that creeps across the veil. You can see like it lifts slightly. And Rhea seems to not be caring, and she just plucks a fruit and puts it in her mouth. She goes, and you, Rhea, we have some business to attend to. And she clicks her fingers, and the door opens. And a figure that you recognise, Gildar walks in. Amelie Tinker, a Bretonian diplomat. And you notice there was a seat not filled. Amelie has hair tied tight into a bun. And the ever practical woman, you can see she's got vials on a belt around her thighs. She wears a kind of tactical belt with a dagger in one side. And also she's got kind of a heavy tan coat, despite the heat. And you can see inside you hear tinkling of maybe vials. Behind her are guards. Darioso, somebody you recognise. He has, instead of that blunt executioner's axe, he has a heavy two-handed sword glittering with runes on his back. And it doesn't have a point, like a sharp point. It like fans out at the end. And beside him comes in the weirdest tiefling you've ever seen. She has ram-like horns, which are ivory white. She has sideburns that run down, that kind of would form a beard, but forms into a nice kind of straight chin, pointed. Her nose is kind of pointy. She has yellow eyes with slits like cat eyes. A shock of what looks like pink flop Mohican hair, which comes down one side, split by her horns. She's muscular. She wears heavy iron gauntlets on her hands. Her biceps, which are tattooed and muscular, are free. She wears a leather vest top with heavy, kind of baggy pantaloons. And that's when Methuselah says, "May I introduce Amelie Tinkerton?" And Amelie takes a seat. She's got like very deep brown eyes, very beautiful, kind of homely looking face. And she scans the crowd, and her bodyguards, Darioso and Vivian Buckhorn. And Vivian Buckhorn and Darioso take positions beside her, like royal guards. Now, it's come to my attention that there was an Atlantean ship destroyed in the bay yesterday morning. And you see Rhea perks up at this and looks around the table. Now, Bretonians are our allies, and Amelie nods. And they are allied in turn with the Atlanteans. Now, this destruction of the ship has not hampered our negotiations. And Amelie says, not one bit, mistress. But we would like recompense for our friends. Of course, says Methuselah. And you will get it. And she stands up, and within a moment, her husband, the God King, as if he had like just appeared next to her, just out of nowhere, grabs her by the side and lifts her up, takes a seat. And as he sits heavily, she leaves by the side door, and she goes, I leave this rest to my husband. And the God King sits in a chair and doesn't take his mask off, but turns towards Rhea Greenridge. When I gave you asylum in my city, I did not expect you to go around causing carnage. And Rhea says, but I shut down my car. No excuses. You risked our relationship with the Bretonnians. Because of what? Blackmail? Why didn't you come to me first? And she kind of like looks around the room worried. My lord, I had no option. I told you. You did. After the fact. And as he brings his hand out, he like force grips her by the throat. She goes, and then he kind of lifts her off the seat. The seat falls. And her eyes begin to turn inky black. As if she might instantly transform to a... And he says, you dare in my throne room, and I'll break your spine. And she kind of... And he goes, we will have none of that. I gave you asylum because what you can provide to the Empire. The next time you release your wings, I'll have your head over the North Moon Gate. I will make armor out of your scales. And your bones will feed the poreless broth that sits in Shidell. And as he pushes his hand, she goes flying across the throne room and hits the far wall and slides to the ground. She stands up, kind of like kneels and grovels towards him. And he stands, heavy form, despite being 150 years old. And he says, stand, it's unbecoming. She stands, looks at him. Her eyes are still kind of black. And you see there are sharp teeth in her mouth now. He says, sit back down. She sits back down, completely cowed. And he turns towards Amelie Tinkerton and says, is that enough? Or should I take her head? And she nods, there's no need for that. And he nods and says, I assume our deal is back on. The Empire needs gunpowder. She says, of course. And he says, good. He sits down in his seat, hand on either side, the chair's arm. And I help any of the rest of you. And he kind of looks towards Rhea as she begins to speak, and she just silences. She's back to her normal, pristine human form. I'm assuming that means the council is ended.
One way to end it, yeah.
And you see at that moment, Haydar is right next to him. Good. There's a silence. He goes, council dismissed. Oh, and apart from the Fearbone Rebellion, tomorrow evening, we vote for war. And everyone kind of looks shocked. He goes, you do not agree? This is the last time the Fearbones have rebelled against us. I will not risk men this time, though, but I will take votes. I can destroy them utterly. Wipe them from the face of the Empire. And that's when they all look at each other. I threatened this once, and I said if they did it again, I would end them.
And I'll just, raise my hand out. I have no idea, because I'm, of course, not a proper noble, what the policy is.
Don't know the heraldry.
Jandel says, you would kill all of them. He, looks towards her, his gold face just showing a smiling lord that he once was. Yes. And that kind of silences the table.
I'll raise my hand again to see if that,
He looks towards you and goes, Master Ironblood, speak your mind.
As mentioned, we will be taking ship and possibly finding out what's been causing this. If we encounter any further T-bone activity, we could report back to you or one of your subordinates if you wish.
After
Take more time.
After the week's end, Master Ironblood, there shouldn't be no more fear-burn activity ever again.
Oh, genocide. Jesus.
If you so wish.
Oh, Hadral, how goes the seer business? And Hadral says, my lord, Mashaf Damaka, there's been no luck finding the seer, and the air turns palpable, almost angry. He says, I gave you enough clues. She would be during the future. Find her. And Hadral says, of course, my lord. It's more difficult than that. She could be anywhere in the Empire. She's small, young, learning her trade.
I'll raise my hand again.
Yes, Master Ironblood.
What is this seer you speak of? Because it sounds very much like someone I might know.
Before I conquered the Empire, there was a seer that opposed me. An elvish lady who's been there since before the Reckoning. Before Ragnarok. She sees the future and foiled my plans at every turn. Around about now, I found a prophecy that would say she would be replaced. I could end her line right now. She would be seeking her apprentice too, seeking it through clandestine channels. But I will stop her before it happens.
Very good, sir. I have not heard of any elvish seers. I apologize for the interruption.
He nods, sorry. No problem. Now, he stands. Hadar kind of looks up at him. Even though she's got a blindfold on, she seems to always know where people are. I must finish other business today. Anything else? And the whole entire council's just no. Shaking their head. Good, dismissed, and he just leaves. Just walks out the side entrance with his Royal Herald cartwheeling behind him.
Alright.
The kind of room is left in empty, stunned silence, and everyone just peers towards Lady Rhea Greenridge.
Yeah, I'll just get up and leave.
Yeah, as she gets to stand up, you see that Darioso and Vivian Buckhorn kind of turn either side and stand there, flanking Lady Rhea Greenridge, and they just stare at her. She goes, yes. And then that's when you first hear Vivian speak, and she walks in and goes, you think about any retaliation, my mistress? You'd have to worry about more than the God King. She looks towards Emily and she says, and as she brings up her metallic arm, gauntlets all the way up to her elbow, she does a crunching motion. She says, I never miss. It's in my blood. And she just walks off, and Darioso kind of awkwardly kicks at the dirt or the carpet and goes, yeah, same to you. And just kind of walks off, following Vivian and Amelie that leave the throne room. Rhea just goes, ugh, just leaves, obviously beaten and cowed. Anything you wanted to do?
Head back to the mansion first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And then send out messages, cryptograms to Makra and Gwyneth. Let's say commands, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Characters.
So we're going to move over to Gwendeth now.
And at that point, we go for a tea break and a beer.
No, we're finishing early, in 20 minutes, so you might as well...
Oh, I did not know that. I did not agree to this bullshit.
It's because we haven't got the other players. But anyway, so Gwendeth, you, as you're about to fall asleep, you get a shake, and a woman in white robes goes, hello?
Yes?
You're Gwendeth, right?
I am.
Follow me, please.
I'm not going inside.
Oh, you must.
Okay, sure.
And she runs towards the infirmary, looks around, and runs around the side of the building.
I follow her, but I take my chair with me because I want the chair I ran to get stolen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and she goes, quick, or she returns. And she leads you round the side to what looks like just the side of the house, and she begins feeling around. And as she does, her hand just stops on nothing. She goes, here. And you hear chains rustling. And then she looks at you, bows, and then runs off.
I check it out.
Okay, so there's obviously some sort of illusion here. You put your hand and there's definitely wood, and there's metal, and you feel a handle, and then you feel chains around it. But it's still invisible. You can't see it.
Right, for now, it's enough that she knows it's there. She does like a little victory dance. That goes away saying, I knew it!
Yeah, and as you look around, that doctor, nowhere to be seen.
I mean, that's fair. She has solved her purpose. She has furthered my dragon hunt.
Fair enough. Your curiosity is always in the wrong place. It's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so what are you up to here then? You're kind of in the back garden-ish. The back garden's fence is just to your left, and you can see there are some people out there, but they haven't noticed you're there.
I scurry back to the front and place my chair back there and pretend I have fallen asleep.
Okay, cool.
So if she returns, she knows that I'm a dumbass and have not accomplished anything.
Okay. And Macro, what would you like to do? The flames do eventually burn down. And you notice that before the flames even down, Mimu sits on the ground and begins drawing.
If that was directed at me, I heard something that sounded raw at the end of it. You were breaking up.
I think it's you breaking up.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it's Macro, what would you like to do? You notice that Mimu's drawing on the ground again, but Fixu's just staring at the flames.
I'll have a look what the drawing is first.
It looks to you like a big smudge, but there's definitely a table. There's definitely somebody sat it with his stick figure's hands extended, and somebody seems to be floating above the stick figure's hands. You see, that, she points and goes, is the bad person, and this is another bad person, and they're fighting.
And they're fighting?
Yeah, but it's not really a good fight, you see, because this one's, and she points towards the sitting down one, it's much more powerful than the other one.
Right. Try to make a mental note of it and save it for later. I'll go up to, where you were staring at the fire, sorry, was it fixed?
Yeah, Fixu. And just at that moment, you notice that Mimu's eyes glaze over and she goes, oh, what's that? And then heads off down towards the water.
I'll keep an eye on her, and I'll just keep I'll just put a hand on her.
Found something? You can make a perception check. Looks like she's found something, like a shell, or you're not quite sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perception check. Nope.
Looks like she's found like a shell or like something on the beach, and she goes, oh, and then holds it clenched in her palm and is walking back to her picture.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll go see what it is, isn't it? I'll probably put my hand on a Fixu then to make sure she's, and ask her, are you feeling better now?
No, she was back for 2 weeks and then gone.
You understand though that she wasn't really back, don't you?
Well, Mimu says she was sick, and
yeah,
she did kill Aziza. We saw that.
Yeah. Very, not very well.
She was
bad
fine.
People did this to her.
She was fine one moment, and then next she was going crazy and hitting her really hard. They were arguing over you.
I see. That wasn't really more. Very, very sick. She's back to peace now. She's laid to rest.
Okay.
Alright. Stiff upper lip and everything. And I'll go to the other sister. Okay, see if her drawing's progressed any.
Yeah, like, so she's sitting there drawing. And she goes, this one, Papa. I'm not quite sure. It just came to me. And then there's something shining in her palm. He goes, this is perfect because he wears a circlet. and she's got a gemstone in her hand, a green gemstone, and she just goes plop and stabs it through the vellum, the paper, and it like lands completely in between the circlet, and then she goes ah, and her eyes roll into the back of her head and go white, and then she comes back a second later and begins crying.
So she's put the gem.
She looks like she put the emerald on the piece of paper. Her eyes literally roll in the back so you can't see any colour, just the whites. She's gone for about 3 seconds, immediately comes back and bursts into tears.
Whoa! What was that?
Her eyes just go and she just continues to cry into her palms.
I'll take the gem off her.
Okay, so the moment you touch the gem, Makra, you are not Makra, but you are a Hound Guard soldier. He charges in, his shield up, his sword drawn. As he kicks the door down, behind him, he sees the warriors, the ones with the maul, the ones with the shield, the dwarf. He sees the gnome, and he sees everyone to help him. Beside him is Gross Direhand, the Hound Guard captain, the big minotaur with his battle axe, but it's dark when they enter the room. He draws his sword, turns to his right, and out of the darkness something grabs him, pulls him in. He feels sharpness in his neck. Blood spurts out, but he managed to elbow the creature in the neck. Manages to stumble back. Gross is already fighting, deep in the fray, but above him on the dais there is a guillotine, and you see Zashida Chernin's head inside it, and a creature with his hand outside. He's got fangs in his mouth, long blonde hair, pale white, and he says, "Welcome to dinner." As he takes a bow, he cuts the cord, and the guillotine begins rushing down towards Zashida's head, and Gross shouts, "No!" And that's when you go flying back away from the picture, hit the sand, your head hits the rocks, and you see that Mimu's also still crying. Fixu's run over to try to help you up. But you feel the bite, you bring your hand to your neck, and you're like, fuck, and then you look, there's no blood, but you definitely felt the bite on your neck.
And I'll grab Mimu and just try and console her. Alright, I think Iron Blood will want to see that. Oof.
He's like, what happened? What happened? I got bit! And she just goes to like hold her hand to her neck.
Yeah, some magic, weird magic. You'll be alright, you're fine. I'll just like rub her arms up and down.
And she's like, okay. And she like wipes the tears and looks down at her picture and she goes, I don't like it. And she just moves it away from her. Like, and then picks up all her other drawings, tucks them down her like down up her sleeves and down her chest top, and goes, "Can we go home, Dad?"
We'll go somewhere. Home might not be a thing anymore. But yeah, we'll go see Uncle Ironblood. Yeah, you like him, don't you?
He's not very funny, but he always knows what to say.
Yeah, he fixed all of his stuff before as well, didn't he?
Do you reckon he'll want that? And she points towards the emerald stabbed into the paper.
Yes, and I'll like scrunch the paper around the gem so I don't touch it again.
Yeah, okay, you wrap it up. Do you want to write down that you've got... Okay, do you want to write down that you've got...
Gem wrapped in paper.
Yeah, do you want to write down that you've got Private Ganem?
Private Ganem.
Private Ganem. Write card for me, please.
Did Gwendef accept the braces of agility?
Did I get braces of agility? What do they do?
Yeah, I give him
Brace of defense? No?
No, I've got the braces of defense. She wears armor. I don't. She can have the agility ones with you.
Braces of...
Wait, what do they do?
They're the ones where we get the bonus to initiative if you like once per long rest.
Oh, and you can pick someone else.
Yeah, you get you and someone else.
I've got the other ones.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, they were like in a pair.
Yeah, they're
two pairs, weren't they? Right, delete them off me character sheets.
Can you post me the text so I can copy it in?
I didn't have the text. I don't think I really.
Oh, they will.
I think Arnie's
always organised.
Can I wear 2 pairs of braces? Because I do have braces of archery already.
No, you can't.
We've all got braces.
So I can't use them.
They'll have to go to Lantic and
Or Chester.
or Chester. Yeah.
All right, so we did a lot today. We got some of this done. Moving on to the next part. I'm also going to give you all a level up.
Oh, that is very nice.
Oh.
Juicy.
I know, and hopefully next week Todd will be back with a new computer or a laptop.
Something.
Yeah, and then Rocket will be back the week after. So that was tonight's session, a 2-hour one. But anyway, we got a lot done.
Yeah.
And we will be back next week.